Hi, I'm Natalie Rogers with Tat Your Own Adventure, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a self-closing mock ring. So it's very important that when you loop the thread that you're looping is the core thread, because what we're doing is we're creating a loop that we can then later close. If you take your chain thread and loop, then you're going to end up with this loop that stays. So don't do the chain thread. Make sure that your chain thread is set up in your loom, and it's the core thread that you're going to loop around. So I'm just going to take the core thread and I want to loop that first. Okay, so if I have to adjust what's in my hand, I can do that without having to take the loop off my finger. So I loop first and then I set up my loom. And I'm going to start a chain just like normal. Make sure it snugs up right against the last stitch. And again, we are doing a self-closing mock ring. It's called a mock ring because it's actually made out of a chain. And I've got 2 stitches in, and I'm already finding I need more space in my fingers. So I'm going to pop a shuttle that I'm not using onto that loop just so that it stays open. You can use a bulb safety pin. You can hook a removable crochet stitch counter, any type of thing there if you want to make sure that the whole idea is that I want to make sure I can't pull it all the way closed by accident, because I really need this loop at the end to turn my chain into a ring. So I'm just going to set my shuttle dangling down here in that loop. I made the loop really big. That's fine. It doesn't matter. So that I can work on my chain. So I'm working on my chain. 1, 2, 3. Here's 4. This is going to be a ring of 4 picot 4 picot 4. So it's a chain of 4 picot 4. Picot. I need to expand my head again. So that's 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to do another picot. And 4 stitches total. That's 2. Here's 3. And here's 4. Okay, at this point, I have completed what I want to be on my ring. It's on my chain. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my loop is not twisted. And I'm going to post my shuttle through that loop. Take out the shuttle that was holding it open. And then I'm going to tighten that loop down. And as I do so, that's going to make it form into a mock ring. So this is a self-closing mock ring because it looks like a ring when you complete it, because you put your core thread back through that loop of core thread you had at the beginning, and then you pull it closed, and so it pulls it closed on itself. This is the standard ring that needle tatters learn, where they tat their chain onto their needle, and then they put their needle back through a loop of their core thread, and that closes it down, makes that self-closing mock ring. So you might be asking yourself, why would I do a self-closing mock ring instead of a ring? So one of the benefits of doing a self-closing mock ring instead of a ring is being able to throw additional rings off of your self-closing mock ring. So I'll show that next. I'm just putting a chain of 8 direct tatted stitches. Roughly 8, might be more. I'm not really counting, it's practice thread. Between this and the last one. And so now we'll show where you can throw rings off of a self-closing mock ring. So again, I want a loop to be held of my core thread. So I'm just going to clip that spare shuttle on to make sure it's not going to close up on me. And then I'm going to start my tatting. And in this time, let's zoom back out, sorry. So again, I set it up by making a loop that's just going to dangle of my core thread and starting my chain with a normal stitch. My loom is set up the same way. I just have that extra loop of core thread hanging down. I'm going to do 4 stitches and then I'm going to throw off a ring. So this is where a self-closing mock ring can come in handy. If you want rings of the same color as the ring you are currently tatting to come off of this ring, you can do that. So I tatted 4 stitches. I then take the chain loom off my hand and I'm going to set the chain thread up as a ring loom. And I'm going to tap my ring and I'm going to do 4 picot 4 picot 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to close this thrown ring. Thrown ring just means it's a ring off of a chain. Okay, and I'm going to then resume tatting my self-closing mock ring, which at this point is just tatting the chain part of it. I'm going to tat 6 stitches and then I'm going to throw 1 more ring off. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm now where I want to throw off a ring. So I'll take my chain thread loom off my hand and turn it into a ring loom. And I'm going to tap 4. You can also join. So I'm actually going to join to the last picot of my last thrown ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to come in and I'm going to join. And post my shuttle through that. One, 2, 3, 4. Picot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then that ring's complete, so I'll close it up. So then I can resume my chain, putting my chain loom back on my hand. Tap 4. So that's the rest of my self-closing mock ring count that I want to do. So again, it's set up like a chain right now. I finished that last stitch, and then what I'm going to do is come over here, make sure my loop is not twisted. So it just comes straight down, and I'm going to post my shuttle through it, and then I'm going to pull it closed and tension my self-closing mock ring how I want it. And so that is a self-closing mock ring with 2 thrown off rings. So that is where the benefit of doing a self-closing mock ring comes in, is when you're throwing rings off of it. Okay, your rings don't have to connect to each other. I just showed that it is possible. That is self-closing mock ring. So if you don't want to get into loop-tatted rings to throw it off a true ring, you can use a self-closing mock ring and just throw regular rings off.